All right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic, I won't look, it is March the 18th. Yes, look at
Hey,
that.
way to
I
go, Matthew.
I know basic dates. No, and
It's amazing.
the only reason I even got close just now was we had St. Patrick's Day yesterday, apparently, and at
That is
church
so.
I kept wishing everyone a happy Ides of March. And everyone's like, what are you talking? Or I asked if they had a good Ides of March. And everyone was like, I have no idea what it is you're talking about. And I was severely disappointed in how few people read Shakespeare anymore and are unaware of the soothsayer speaking to Caesar, beware the Ides of March. We can't.
That's amazing.
It is. I mean, to be fair, most of the people I was talking to were the kids in the youth group, but you know, not a lot of classical training going on there. Exactly, Ami et tu brute.
We have a guest here with us. It's
We
Anna.
do. Oh, hey Anna, welcome to the stream.
Hi.
I don't know if you can hear her or not.
Yeah, and hey,
Awesome.
congratulations on having a new driver.
A new driver?
Yeah, she posted in Discord. Was it last week?
Oh, yes. Jordan.
Got a brand new
Son
set of
Jordan.
wheels.
Yeah. I got to ride in it today.
How was it?
It was powerful. A V8 Magnum, a Dodge Magnum. Omni's probably geeking out there.
See, my knowledge of
And
cars extend to they have wheels and an engine and things happen and you move.
well, generally speaking, that's true.
I mean, to be fair, I remember as a teenager doing my own oil changes and stuff. And I remember working on,
Hey, look at you.
oh, yeah, it was in the days where you actually saved money by doing your own oil change.
Right.
And then I remember, working on the car with my dad, adjusting the timing belt, uh, switching out spark plugs and alternators. And you can't do that anymore. Everything's so compact and like almost everything you do, you take the engine out to like the first
I
step,
know,
remove the
right?
engine.
Right?
And
Everything's computerized now.
yeah. Hey, my hat's off to anyone who has one of those like engine winches things where just you wrap it around and you lift the whole thing up. The fact that you have the knowledge to do that, the equipment to do that, and the willpower to do that, well done, everyone. That's not me.
No, that's not me either. But Jordan, he could tell you just about every make and model of car or manageable. He'll tell
Wow,
you what the engine is. He knows the trim. He knows everything. He's really brilliant with that.
that's great.
And like I said, Omni's probably geeking out there
Yeah,
because he's a
Mopar.
car guy too.
I thought a few Mopar things, but it's more like audio stuff whenever I'm on Mopar.
Well, your track record with audio isn't the greatest.
It wasn't in my car either. So I had a 1993 Geostorm as my very first vehicle, which
Oh,
I
okay.
lovingly refer to as a go-kart on wheels or a street legal go-kart. A go-kart is already on wheels. It was a street legal go-kart basically. It was the it was the Kia of the day and it was their sports model version. So yeah, it was actually four cylinder, the one I had. I think that's what made it. I think the Geostorm was a true four cylinder, and it was the Geo Metro that was the three cylinder. But you could
Okay.
literally four linebackers could lift this vehicle up off the ground and move it where they wanted to. Maybe five, but it was a seriously small and light
Omni-
vehicle.
Omni is saying it was a 3-cylinder.
The Metro.
And Omni knows his cars. The Geostorm, I'm guessing.
We'll see if
Geo Metro was 3, he says.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Geostorm. See, that's what made it so sporty. They made the frame was sporty, and the engine was a V4. But I actually I could outrun or outrace most, like, except for like the high end, really well done vehicles. But anything else on the road, my friends and I did some drag racing sometimes, and I easily beat them in my Geostorm.
Wow, you drag raced?
Not like
I'm shocked.
Like anyone who did real drag racing would be like, no, you did not drag race. You and your friends took off from a red light. True. But you know.
So you're racing in the streets.
Yes, we were. But it was also.
Tisk.
It was also a much different time. There's such less traffic. It's late at night. We weren't in danger of we weren't going to hurt anyone. Still not the best choice, I admit, but we did.
Well, you only live once, right?
Yeah. Which is.
Yeah, Josh.
A
Zathras was a street racer.
But not a speed racer. That's someone else.
Speed racer. Okay. Yeah, that is someone else. Never cared for that show.
Yeah, it did not have the best budget, which, there were a lot of animes from that time that did not have great budget as it transitioned to America. That one especially seemed to be kind of the bare minimum effort for every episode.
It seems that you're getting a new article. 886. I don't know what it is. I haven't read it. Oh, what a dream to have. What a goal to have. To reach 1,000 articles.
Let's see. It is admitting to drag racing.
I've never done that myself. And I've got a train coming in.
Like I said, there's different times. The population of the area was, I don't know, half of what it is now. Maybe less. I don't know. Just my gut feeling is that it was significantly less dense than it is now. I lived in a smaller town in the area. I'd be coming home from working Baskin Robbins late at night. Like, this was not a dangerous situation by any stretch of the imagination. I still could have been pulled over, yes, but we were safe in our stupidity.
So you were never pulled over?
I was never pulled over. Nope.
Got away with it.
The time I was actually pulled over was for an expired registration. Like they sit right outside.
Expired?
Yeah.
An expired registration.
Yeah. So they sat right outside the high school parking lot, and they just waited for the kids to come by. And like the day it expired, the cop lit up their lights and gave me a ticket. And then, I was like 16, so my mom got it dismissed. She's like, no, we are registered. Here's our registration information. The sticker just wasn't on there. And they're like, okay, yep. Throw this out. No problem.
Okay, then. Well, you got away with it.
Yeah.
Thomas says, less dense doesn't make it legal.
It's true. It's true. I fully admit to that. And Omni's saying 55 stay alive. Not in this area. That's like, honestly, it's all about the speed differential. And so going 15 under the speed limit is just as dangerous as going 15 above the speed limit.
Oh, I've driven Dallas Fort Worth area. I know how crazy it is.
Hey, Texas, how you doing? Isn't that usually a warning? So she gave me, I don't know, she gave me a full-on ticket for that. I think she was trying to strike some fear into this young whippersnapper's heart.
And did it work?
No. No. We just talked about the drag racing I did. No, it didn't work. It actually, I was actually too confused to be scared. So the lights light up. I'm about to turn left. There's no shoulders on this road. It is 5 lanes and a turning lane. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do in this situation. So I get into the turning lane, and like she turns on her megaphone, and she's like, pull into the parking lot. And so like I have to pull into this random it's like a Quickie Mart sort of parking lot sort of thing, a strip mall.
Okay.
And then she gave me a ticket. I'm like, okay. So I get home, I'm like, Mom, what do I do with this? Like, how do I pay this? And she's like, okay, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Like, we're registered. We'll just go down to the judge and show him proof of registration, and that's that. The more you know.
Well, knock on wood, I've never been pulled over. I never got a ticket. Nothing.
Hey.
Never had an accident.
I've had one accident, and that was because the person in front of me deliberately tried to scam me for insurance money. It was right when I went into college. It was 6:35, which is bumper to bumper traffic. It was horrible at the time. And so we all start to go, traffic is moving. I'm a good distance behind them, but as we're accelerating, there's nothing in front of them, and they just slam on the brakes. And so I slam on my brakes, everything locks up, and I skid, and I hit them. But it's pretty slow. There is maybe some scuff marks on our 2 vehicles here. Because again, geostorm. Like, there is no mass to this vehicle. And so I'm like, yep, here's my license registration, or not license. Here's my registration, my insurance card. We exchange insurance information. And then they call me up later, and they're like, hey, you know what? Let's not go through insurance. You just pay me $3,000 for the repair. And my dad's like, no, we're not going to be doing that. Nice try. You can submit everything through insurance. And nothing ever came in because there was nothing.
Well, I'm glad there was nothing.
Yeah, the professor is a model driver, unlike myself as well, Anna.
I'm not sure if she can hear you or not. Can you hear Matthew?
I'm guessing
she's got the stream on her phone, but I'm not sure she has audio on.
Is this Zathra retells his Babylon 5 life, or Matthew retells his life? You never can tell, Josh. Lanier, he could have gotten pulled over for that stunt he pulled, but he was with the chief of security, so I don't think anyone's going to bother them. Is Matthew saying stuff? I don't think so, Thomas.
I can hear him say something. I don't know what it is, but
okay, I can hear that. Yeah. Well,
okay,
how about
so Anna's listening now. She has headphones on.
Yeah, the chief of security isn't going to tell the chief of security, especially the things the chief of security doesn't need to know.
Matthew, if I may just have a minute.
Yeah.
I just want to address what's going on in my life for a minute.
Please do.
So for those that don't know, my mom has been having major health issues, and I was in Ohio last week for the stream. I briefly went back to Texas on Wednesday, and I had to come right back on Saturday. She's not doing well. She has liver cancer, lung cancer, and they really can't do anything for her. She's getting hospice. She's out of the hospital right now. In fact, she's in our home right now, and Anna's taking care of her. And like I said, hospice is coming in daily. They're not expecting her to live much longer, but Any thoughts, prayers, very appreciated.
Absolutely.
Doing something kind of normal for me, doing the stream tonight, so that's why I'm here. Mom's in the next room. She's resting comfortably right now. Got Anna here. I've got the cats here, and
so they're keeping the pain in control, or
yeah, keeping her comfortable. She's getting pain medication, and we're taking care of her.
Excellent.
I'm on leave. I'm on leave from work. I'm getting family medical leave.
I am very thankful for that. The FMLA Act.
FMLA, yeah.
And just that companies can't fire you just because you're going through an emergency.
Yeah. Right now I'm getting paid through sick leave. I had like over 400 hours built up. So
excellent.
Yeah. So I'm still getting paid, but thank you everyone for your comments in the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you, Omni. Thank you, Trevor Lauren. Kay Roberts, thank you for the prayers. Patrick, thank you very much. Mercer, I appreciate your comment. And Anna just thanked everyone in the chat as well.
Amy's stepmom is a hospice nurse. We're very thankful for those individuals.
That's awesome. They've been great. They've been great. They've been coming in. They've done just a terrific job. The nicest people in the world. We couldn't be doing this without them. So
yeah. I mean, I don't even have the patience to be like a regular nurse, having to deal with people.
I don't think I could do that job.
Yeah.
Hats off to them. But thank you, Matthew.
Of course, and I'll definitely be keeping Mama Specs in my prayers.
Thank you. Her name is Becky.
Let me make a quick note, because I do like to pray for people by name and whenever I can. And unfortunately, as everyone on this channel is aware, I am not a great name rememberer.
You get all the names right.
I try to mask it, but I don't. I don't do names well. And I saw a Positive Candor commented a little bit back saying that Kefir was not a Jameis choice character. And I think I saw either him or Omni drop that in the Discord today.
Yeah, there was an article that someone dropped. I believe I'm not sure who it was now, but yeah. The studio execs, they kept telling JMS, well, we need a hotshot pilot in the show. We want a Han Solo type character. Put him in. So he did. And about midway through season 2, the network was getting anxious about its existence, so they stopped dropping notes, and JMS did whatever he wanted. So he killed off Kefir.
And that's so weird to me, because admittedly, I'm gonna have to do both their names. I can do this. Sheridan was not as much of a pilot as Sinclair was.
Right. Very good.
But I felt like he still kind of fit that niche hotshot pilot sort of character.
Yeah, in a way he does.
And it's
he's more of a starship captain, but
yeah, but he still went on patrol. And it's interesting that studio execs were pushing for that sort of content, because I feel like that might have been why Riker became more pilotish. Like he'd be randomly, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a great pilot. It wasn't something that came up often, but
well, they had a lot of good pilots on Next Generation. I mean, originally Picard was, a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
They had Geordi as a pilot. They had obviously Riker. Data obviously would be a great pilot, I would think.
How many times did we actually see Riker pilot? I think he was. Did he pilot in the Pegasus?
I believe he was at the helm when he was an ensign on the Pegasus.
Right. I mean, in the actual episode with the Pegasus, did he fly them out?
I don't remember.
I want to say he was either on the battle bridge.
They had the phase cloak, and they flew the Enterprise out with that, so they didn't need to pilot out.
I know. I want to say that in the premiere episode, he was on the saucer section piloting the disconnect, or did he?
Farpoint and Encounter.
Yeah,
he did. He did a manual docking
after they had separated.
After they separate, he did a manual docking to lock the two ships, the two segments of the ship together.
Thomas, he said he used a joystick in Insurrection.
Yes, that's right, Thomas.
And
of course, Chain of Command Part 2, he flew the shuttle that laid the mines around the Cardassian ships in the nebula. Jellicoe didn't want to ask him because he had basically relieved him of duty.
Yes.
And then Jellicoe was told that Riker was the best pilot on the ship and he needed a good pilot.
Yes. And that was such a rant. I remember because it's like, yeah, we saw him pilot in the pilot. And then.
Yeah. Omni is right. He flew a shuttle in the Outcast.
And yes, Texas, he was. It was an aspect of Riker's character, but not a defining characteristic the way it was for Tom Paris. And really, Tom was the first. I feel like Tom Paris was the first reoccurring main cast character who was a pilot. Everyone throughout TNG, you had people at the helm. TOS, Sulu and Chekhov at the helm. Well, Sulu at the helm. But you didn't really get to see him pilot very much.
No. Although he did in a dream. Star Trek V. Life is but a dream.
Oh. Okay. I was going through I was going through TOS episodes. I'm like, when did he have a dream? It wasn't on the planet with Finnegan.
Omni says, not a dream.
I was actually talking about. I left a comment on Anti-Trekker's latest Section 31 video, specifically on the character of Fuse or Fuzz, who is just one of the most egregious, hateful stereotypes of an Irishman I've seen in a long time. And I made a comment about how I think he may be one of the most egregious representations of an Irishman ever, since the Space Irish from Up the Ladder, which John DeMarco did a thing on the Irish in Star Trek recently.
Yes, he did Monday on his channel.
And Michael pointed out that Finnegan was pretty stereotypical Irish too. Like all he needed was a bottle of whiskey in one hand as the music played, and he was just over the top in the way he did things. But I think Fuse is still a lot worse.
I still have not seen that film, so I cannot comment. You're missing nothing. To me, it's Steino, Star Trek in name only.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, Omni. Don't want to ruffle your feathers. I know you're with Paramount Plus.
Is he gets sponsorship too every time he mentions it, I think. Like a corner of a penny or something.
Does. Highly anticipated is a hashtag highly anticipated special movie event, he says.
Or no, not Sections 31. It's not anticipated. It's done. But
well, that's true.
Now we get the Academy show coming up.
Formerly highly anticipated special movie event.
Which
ratings speak for themselves. What are the ratings, Omni? What are the true ratings? I want to know. Have Paramount release
on which site?
So good we don't have to discuss them, he says.
Let's see, Section 31, Rotten Tomatoes, a critic score of 20 and an audience score of 16%.
Oh, the critic score went up slightly by 1%, I think.
Real rough. Let's see. Positive Candor was saying that Commodore Decker piloted a shuttlecraft directly into the Doomsday Machine, and Kirk piloted the Constellation directly into it as well. That's true.
Well, that's true, but that thing's so big, I don't think it'd be too difficult.
I want to say Decker actually was a bit of a pilot, wasn't he? Like there's a difference between, if I'm on a Navy ship, in like an aircraft carrier or destroyer, and as a captain, I'm able to point the boat in the right direction for it to hit something. That's one thing, but to be like a jet fighter pilot and be able to maneuver a jet with expertise is a very different animal.
Omni says most Starfleet officers had flight training. That's probably true. I don't think we got much history on Commodore Decker.
Just that his name was Matt, and one of those crazy Matt people.
Yeah.
And yes, Joel, exactly like Kiefer.
Kiefer. So influential, we don't remember how to pronounce his name.
He's so influential, he has 2 names.
Oh, okay. Is that the story? I see.
Yeah, like Lord Reefer or Reefa.
Got it.
So how about
speaking of that?
Yeah. How about we jump into an episode?
We've got Babylon 5. Yeah, sounds good.
So
I think this is our longest intro ever.
It was just so honestly, I needed a little bit of time to decompress as well. For much less serious reasons. I'm trying to do my taxes, and
that's one thing I did when I was briefly back in Texas. I did my taxes.
They're so annoying. It's so annoying. Like I admit that I am a libertarian at heart. I am not one of the libertarians who are like, oh, taxation is theft and we should have 0 taxes. But when tax season comes around, I do start to sympathize with the founding fathers who are like, you know what? Let's just throw the tea in the ocean. That tax season definitely resounds in my heart that way. It's just everything's so confusing. I feel like it's deliberately confusing.
I think they do that on purpose. You're right. Thomas wants to know, are we going to see how wrong your prediction was?
No, we're going to see how spot on I am with all my guesses. And I was actually thinking, well, I guess first of all, Jeff, what was my guess or prediction?
Well, for convictions, you thought this episode was going to be looking at Londo, testing his convictions, where he is at right now, where his race is, the Centauri, and how his race is treating other people. Also, how Londo is being cut out from power and the Centauri power structure, as the shadow spiders are now going to be dealing with Rifa, or Reefer, however you pronounce him, instead of Londo, which will suit the shadow spiders just fine, you said. They were gearing Londo to be on the throne, but once he stopped having the aspirations of power, Rifa is there and they go with him instead. Once he's out of the power loop, is Londo still is okay with where they are as a race when he was still in the power loop? Does Londo still have the convictions? That was your prediction.
All right. Hey, Putin's cat, how you doing? What am I using as a Babylon 5 source now? My own stuff. I rip all my media to digital sources, but with Babylon 5, I got all the digital stuff, which I regret. I definitely regret. I wish I'd gotten the Blu-rays off Amazon. But I didn't.
Still can, but I know you're going to be double paying for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, in about one season, we've got an episode where we've got a scene missing from the digital stuff, so we'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah, I forget what I did last time. I think I bought that one. I found it on Google services. They had the lower resolution video. I was able to purchase it off YouTube, Google, and then capture that video. And so I was able to get the missing scene that way. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So we'll go ahead and kick things off here. And I actually already pinned the chat or the screening room in the chat. So go ahead and join us over there. That is only active. I always say this, but here we go. It's only active right now during this stream. If you're here in the future and you want to actually watch the video, I'm sorry, you can't do that through the link pinned there. Instead, you're going to just have to watch it on one of the many great streaming services that it's on right now, which, I'm sorry, everyone. I got to check. I didn't check this on Sunday, but there was, when we were here last week, Babylon 5 was not going to be streaming on Amazon anymore, according to Amazon. It said it was going to go away in 5 days. And so I saw someone saying that, oh, it's not there anymore, and then like the next day it came back, and so I'm kind of wondering, like, hey, is it there? Is it not? Were they renegotiating the deal and got things worked out? But unfortunately, yeah, it is not available on Amazon. You can buy it. You can buy it and stream it on Amazon, but you can't watch it for free with Amazon Prime anymore.
Josh Street is asking if we watch the B5 movie in the beginning after episode 16 and 17. Presumably, he's speaking of this season. Josh, I think we should really wait on that until probably after season 4, when TNT actually produced it.
Oh, and yes, as Putin's is pointing out, it actually does say season 1 coming to Prime in 14 days. So we'll see. It looks like they lost.
Come back in April, huh?
Yeah. April Fools. We'll see.
Well, yeah. And hey, if we stick to our schedule, we should have an episode that night, April 1st.
That's right. Yeah, maybe they missed a payment.
There you go.
So yeah, you can buy it on Amazon, the digital stuff. But if you're gonna buy the digital stuff, buy the physical stuff, everyone. That's just my 2 cents. Otherwise, it's available on Roku and Hulu and Tubi.
I don't think it's on Hulu. I don't think it's on Hulu.
Excuse me, Roku and Tubi TV, I believe is the other one. And
Discovery Plus for whatever reason.
And with the Roku and Tubi one, there's ads with it, but it's free to watch with ads. And I don't know about Discovery Plus. I'm assuming that's that's a paid service, so my assumption is that it wouldn't have ads, but I honestly don't know.
Well, some of those services now, you still pay for them, but you still get ads.
And
Oh,
Thomas is saying
Thomas, it's
maybe
not
not
on Discovery
Discovery.
Plus anymore? Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and kick this off, and let's see how honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be right, but we'll talk about that as we get going here. So I'm going to give you a quick 3 countdown, and we'll all be able to sync up our stuff together. Oh, and obviously, what you see down here is just going to be a single clip or a single screenshot. It updates every 7-9ish seconds thereabouts. No audio, just so you have some sort of visual reference for what's going on. And it seems like about 7 to 9 seconds, that range is an area that people are happy with, and so that's what I've been using. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button, everyone. Oops, I didn't hit the play button, everyone.
Oops. Here we go.
Okay.
I think.
I hit the screen transition button. Okay, so they're talking about a drowsy higher being?
Yes.
Oh.
When Kosh revealed himself, the Drazi saw their god or their spiritual being.
So I guess a lot of people are making there's been a lot of pilgrimages to the station now because people saw this divine event. And they're poking they're poking Zach because they want to share in his blessing. I don't want to share my blessing, okay? But he's saying that that potted plant over there, that was in the garden. It was real close. So why don't you just go poke the plant? And are they wearing green, K. Roberts? Is that a reference to the green versus the purple?
That is a reference. Yep.
Okay, so I realized, by the way, with my prediction that I am not giving JMS the credit he's due. I'm focusing on there being a single plot idea where he will do like 15. And as soon as
Sometimes.
yeah, as soon as I started uh-oh. As soon as I started seeing the guest stars for this week, I realized that this is probably going to be more in relation to Zach's convictions, or at the very least, Zach and perhaps maybe also, if I'm right, Londo's.
Yes. Boom today, Omni and Josh.
And yeah, so what happened right there is that there were some people downtown or in the downtown area who they were poking around trying to find something to sell, and one of them it was just it was a big trap, like literally a cage trap. He went in there. He's like, "Ooh, look at this!" And then the walls of the cage fell down and trapped him inside. And then, boom! Down below, downtown. Yeah, same difference, Jeff. I got half the word right. That's you know progress
Well,
for me.
uh, in a prior episode, they tricked people into thinking there was an extra section called downtown when there really isn't.
Just a lot of sealed bulkheads.
Right. Yeah, Cal Hudson.
Okay, Patrick Kilpatrick. I actually recognized that name because it is just one of the most Irish sounding names for a guest star. And he was one of the he was on Voyager. He was one of the the first race.
The Kazons.
The Kazon, yeah.
Yeah.
Kazon Ogla.
He was also in the Siege of AR-558 as a human soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also in another Voyager episode called Drive as one of the pilots, the alien pilots.
And there's another guest star this week who was the main villain, I think, from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay.
So, Garibaldi, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and he's saying, there's any number of things it could be, fire, explosion, and Sheridan goes, so you're ruling out a bombing? He goes, with all the things that's been going on recently, no, I'm not ruling out anything. Hey, Gamer Grad, how you doing?
Now, Brother Theo is he's played by Louis. I'm going to mispronounce the name. Terrain, and he originally played Drawl, Delen's or Dolores's mentor.
Oh, wait.
They had to replace the actor because of of Lewis's health, and when he was better, they brought him back as a different character.
Oh. I was like, wait, why did if he's here now, why recast him? But that's why.
Yeah. And Nami's right. They replaced him with John Schuck, and it kind of worked out because John Schuck is a younger actor, and they gave the excuse that the machine revitalized him, made him youthful again.
Okay, so Brother Theo is saying that God has gone by many different names, which technically true. Uh, there are different names that there's a primary name that he's identified himself as the I Am. And then there's been other names that people have divinely been inspired to give him, like the God who provides, the God who sees. But I think the way he's talking is more like, oh, well, sometimes he's known as Allah, sometimes he's known as Yahweh, sometimes he's known as Shiva. Like, oh, he has lots of different names, and we're trying to find out all the names.
Yeah, you got it, Matthew.
And so he's trying to get free board, it sounds like trying to barter some living spaces. Is that what he was trying to do, to say, hey, I've specifically chosen people who are skilled and can provide services.
Yeah, essentially, the administration of Babylon 5, they had concerns of this group being there, so he's just justifying why they're there.
Okay. And yes, this is the Mortal Kombat guy. He was the main villain. And it's interesting because we had an episode with kind of a Christian pilgrimage type person before. The what was his name?
This is funny scene.
He kind of looks like Tom Selleck.
A little bit. Doesn't sound like Tom Selleck.
No, he does not. Okay, so Lanier has been diagnosed with Netter's syndrome, and so he's heading home. And he's going home to get his affairs in order before the end. Okay, I think he might be fibbing. He says he had never heard of it, but he believes it's passed by physical contact. And so I'm pretty sure he may have been deceiving.
Yeah, he just said he would. He would ask for forgiveness later. Ask for penance later.
Oh no! And Lanier is pulling a Spock. He literally just saved Londo's life.
He did.
Explosions going off. Lanier grabs Londo, throws him out of the door as it's sealing, as if he was Geordi trying to get under the blast door. And Lanier was stuck on the other side.
So Netter's syndrome was named for Douglas Netter, who is an executive producer on the show.
Oh. Hey, Chief Cook. It has been a minute. How are you doing?
Hi, Chief Cook.
And Londo, he says, please help him. He could have saved himself, but instead he chose to save me. And Trevor Lauren, what trick did made Gene pull? Oh, the spreads through touch. Yes, The Court Jester, excellent Dan Quaid movie. The vessel with the pestle has the brew that is or no, the chalice with the palace has the brew that is true. The flagon with the dragon is the vessel with the pestle. I don't know. Dan Quaid couldn't get in, neither could I. And so there are the explosions were done with the same device. And apparently, just before both explosions went off, someone called CNC saying chaos. And so he's saying that they're doing basically lockdowns, that you're not allowed to have groups larger than 10 because that represents an easy target. Curfews. And he says, whoever's responsible, I want him found and found fast. And then you get a view of this guy right here. Not Lanier, the one with the glasses just before. And so apparently the only thing that saved Lanier's life was the exterior bone structure that protected the orbital node or his brain. Oh, interesting. So, uh, the there are several Embari who, the next of kin of those who died, specifically wanted Delin, which is interesting because so far until now she's been such a pariah in her society after the transformation.
Well, she is still the ambassador.
And Jakar is very passionately trying to insist that the explosions are a Centauri plot because there are many Narn who died, or several Narn who died in the explosions, which kind of ignores the fact that they were also humans and uh, even Londo himself. And of course, speaking of Londo, he's here saying the exact same thing Jakar is saying, except he's saying the Narn are up to it, that they've done this exact same tactic on their homeworld. And he's saying it's only natural that since the Narn have signed a non-aggression pact with my people, that they have all that aggression still. So now they're taking it out on your people.
Thomas says it's probably the monk guy.
Hmm. In Texas, yes, great point. Another case of the Narns and Centauri being not so different.
Right?
And Ivanova is saying that the morale on the station is bad. That people are afraid to leave their quarters because no one knows when the next place is going to be or who's going to be hit. I mean, it's interesting also just because at this time, mid '90s, we had a couple bombing incidents in America.
That's a very astute comment because it was this same year that this went out that the Oklahoma bombings happened.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It did that one happen before?
Yeah, it happens several months before. Back in the spring of that year, this went out in November.
But I do love that Londo's here, and it's a self-centered compassion, but he still has compassion for Lanier, who saved his life, and Lanier, who he previously was forming a bond with. He says, "Thank you for saving my life." He says, "If I were in your position, I'm sure you'd be doing the same for me." He said, "Of course, if I was in your position and you were still in your position, then neither one of us could do much for each other." He's just going through all the different options. If you were in my position, of course, if both of us were in my position, then neither one of us would need to be here because we'd be healthy. I don't think that made sense.
This scene really makes you want to, just love Londo despite what he's done.
It's because I heard a joke today. I probably should not repeat it. But who are you going to tell? How many Centauri does it take to screw in a light bulb? one. But in the great old days of the Republic, thousands of servants would have changed light bulbs just to spite it? Yeah, I guess you had to be there. I didn't quite get the punchline myself.
Similar jokes like this were going through the Usenets at the time from Babylon 5 fans. So, as a kind of a joke, JMS put that into the script.
That's nice.
To kind of acknowledge that.
And I like also that as this scene closes out here, Lando's saying, "I'll take a break. You say something next," and just kind of highlighting his uncomfortableness with the situation. Like almost as if he doesn't know what to do with someone saving his life. That the idea of someone acting so selfishly is a completely foreign thought to him. And he knows that he should be responding with thankfulness, but he doesn't understand how that thankfulness should be expressed, and he's just uncomfortable. Oh, Chief is asking, is Salty still around? Yeah, so Chief Cook, Salty has another station or another channel he just started uploading videos to called Salty Plus. It's really hard to find, but if you search Salty Plus, and I'll write this in the chat because you said your audio is going out. It's search for Salty Chat or Salty Plus section 31. Here we go. And so Ivanova is pointing out that if someone is trying to send a message, then maybe what he's doing is kind of showing up afterwards to see the results of his attempts. He says, so let's see if at both these bombings we have the same face in the crowds. And Garibaldi he's like so flustered. He goes, there's so many videos and angles of people you're going to have to look through, and we're going to need a lot of people, and they're going to have to be so detailed oriented. And Ivanova cuts him off, goes, Chief, I think I know just the people. and so she says, what you need to do is look at the videos and see if there is anyone coming in, the same person coming and going. And it's not going to be easy because there's going to be a lot of people. He goes, is that all then? He's like, you may go. And then
so if anybody's interested, I just put Salty Plus's address into the chat.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, awkward.
Yeah.
This is really the first one-on-one interaction they've had since G'Kar bought him a drink. When the Centauri Emperor showed up. And then was dying, and he wanted to apologize to G'Kar, and G'Kar is like, oh, I had nothing but bad feelings for you, Centauri, but today I learned that there's still good in you. And Londo is just like freaking out because he knows that any second G'Kar is going to find out that Londo just launched an attack. Or the Centauri, but it was specifically Londo who arranged it with the Shadow Spider people. And so he was going to take the next elevator, but an explosion at the end of the hallway forces him onto the elevator with Jakar. And Jakar is looking at him as Londo's laid out on the floor, kind of like, hey, I got an opportunity right now. And yeah, Texas, you love how Londo has to look around for any other options before jumping in with Jakar at the last second. So I definitely, I had not realized till this moment that you really, I'm pretty sure you don't see them one on one the rest of rest of the season until this very moment. And Zalando was out cold. Jakar could have easily killed him. Has Londo realized that Jakar's even there yet?
I think he does know.
Oh no, Thomas, I mean the rest of season 1 or season 2. So for all of season 2, Jakar and Londo really don't have much in the way of direct interactions.
These two actors together are just phenomenal.
And Jakar's not talking to him. He's doing nonverbal responses. There we go. Now he's talking. He's saying that Londo was unconscious for 2 standard hours. And you have done nothing? And Londo's is saying that that door is very hot. That means there's probably a fire out there. And even if the and so Londo was pointing out that even if the fire doesn't get in here, the smoke will, or we'll be cooked alive. Like we'll probably die in here. And as he's saying that he's gonna die, Jakar starts laughing. And so Londo's pointing out that if we're probably left all on our own. If we do nothing, we're probably gonna die here. And Jakar starts laughing again. And so Londo says, he said, Londo says, we have to work together. And Jakar goes, no. Oh. I hope you guys are watching this and not just listening to my summaries. This is excellent. What's going on here?
Fabulous acting here.
And so the reason Jakar has done nothing is because he says that according to the peace accords or peace agreement, the surrender, any Narn who kills the Centauri means that 100 other Narn will die. So the best thing of all is that I can sit here and do nothing, and I still get the pleasure of seeing you die. I wonder if that was scripted. Sure that was scripted. So Londo's yelling, "Can anyone hear me?" And Jakar in a tiny voice goes, "I can hear you."
Andreas Casillas was so worried he would not act that properly. He practiced that over and over and over at home. And he nailed it. I think he nailed it.
Absolutely. And yeah, Omni, they did a good job doing this guy's look. He looks like a Kaczynski sort of person. Jakar is singing, "There's not many fishes left in the sea, not many fishes, just Londo and me." And we see the smoke starting to make its way into the elevator.
That song he's singing, it's based upon a song he was singing in the Parliament of Dreams in season 1.
Oh, I'd forgotten that. Or I don't remember that. Okay, so
Yep, and Texas referred to it as well.
I suspect that either they're not going to get him right now, or he's not actually the guy. I mean, surely he's the guy. They keep focusing on him whenever something like this happens, but I could definitely see it being a misdirection. Oh, it's the guy. Okay.
Uh,
And so he's saying that he has a dead man switch, and if anyone tries to run at him and rush him, then he's going to let go of the switch, and it is a bomb big enough to blow up half the station.
Not just half, the whole station, he said.
Oh, the whole station. And so he asks if Captain Sheridan is there, and at the same time, Garibaldi yells out no, and Sheridan yells out yes. And he tells
Josh Street. Oops, go ahead. Sorry.
he tells the captain leave his link behind.
Josh Street. It wasn't a direct reference to the Oklahoma City bombing, but I think it was maybe inspired a little by it. I think JMS had it plotted out pretty well in advance.
And so Sheridan has to get a little creative on where he hides the link so it won't be found. But Garibaldi does mention that its location, if he turns up the volume, you'll be able to hear what he had for lunch previously. And yes, Gamergrad, a very well placed peach icon.
And if you noticed, Bruce Boxleitner had a little bit of a odd expression on his face when he was putting it there.
Mm-hmm. It says as long as the trigger keeps transmitting, no boom. No boom today, at least, other than the other booms we've already had. K. Roberts, I don't remember the Weather Underground ones. The big bombing from the 90s I remember was the Oklahoma City one, which uh, wasn't that the IRS? He was trying to take that out of some IRS building in Oklahoma.
I think it was IRS.
Oh, the Weather Undergrounds from the 1960s. Okay, that is why they are not prevalent in my mind. Just a federal building? Okay.
Okay. Omni is saying the IRS was in the federal building, so.
So the guy is he's saying he wants people around, he wants them to be watching, he wants an audience. Because these are chaotic times, and why not keep people around? But beyond that, he's demanding an escort to a shuttle, and after he's off the station, he claims he's going to let everyone go, but obviously I wouldn't trust someone to not blow us up after he was no longer in danger.
Oh no, I wouldn't either.
And he's saying that apparently he lost his job and his apartment, and he's claiming the reason they did it is because they like it when people are afraid. He's saying whenever they took away my apartment, they said, "Oh, it's nothing personal. It's just the times. Chaotic times." So I'm honestly surprised. So for me, Weather Underground has always been just a weather app on my phone. It's weird to me that surely they're referencing these people who tried to do the bombings. What was up with it? What was the thing they were trying to accomplish? And yes, Thomas, this was the Kazan Ogla guy. Now he wasn't the head person. So it was the episode with Rom as the Kazan Ogla.
He was Razik, the Kazan Razik in Initiations. He was also Reese, a soldier, and the Siege of AR 558. He was also a San in the Voyager episode Drive.
No wait, Omni's saying that he was the head guy. Okay, I will certainly accept that I had them backwards. Thomas is saying, "Watch out for the library underground." Hey, you have been seeing a lot more of those underground libraries popping up, Thomas. The take a book, leave a book sort of pop up library. So he shoved Sheridan, and the link fell out.
It got activated or turned off. Deactivated, I guess. And it chimed.
It chimed. Sheridan's trying to get the dead man switch. I guess his logic here is as long as he can hold on to it, since it's not necessarily attached to that guy's biosignature, it's just being held on, then as long as someone's holding it, it doesn't matter what happens to the guy. But unfortunately, he gets beaten back. And the guy lets go of the dead man switch, and boom. Yeah, Patrick Kilpatrick. So he's turning his back on him, but personally, I would want to grab the gun before I turned my back on this man.
Yeah. That was a little dumb of Sheridan.
Omni, no more. No more, no more.
Well, not quite.
So I greatly appreciate the thematic framing they've done with Londo, where he was so tentative by Lanier's side in this one-on-one situation, and now we had reverse with him on in Londo's company, or with Jakar's company.
Yeah, this one's really good, LGG. Welcome.
And so uh Franklin is saying that he's glad it was just human, that he was worried with all the stuff going on right now that it would be a centaur, and that's the last thing they needed. And so he starts to tell the joke again. He goes, I heard a joke earlier. uh how many centaur does it take to replace a light bulb? Just one. And then Lanier speaks up, and he finishes it. And so he says that after he saved Londo's life, he's probably going to get a Medal of Honor from the Centauri. And Lanier says, I should have stayed in the coma. And then he comments that the reason he did what he did is because all life is special. All life is sacred. And so Londo, he says, see, I'm going to live. And Jakar says, uh, it is an imperfect universe. And Londo, he says, they told me to go be an ambassador at Babylon 5 would be an easy assignment. I hate my life. And Jakar goes, I do too. And I hate your life too. Well, that was a pretty fun episode. Pretty
fun episode?
Pretty good episode.
A pretty good episode. I thought it was fantastic. Great acting. You get Andreas Consolis and Peter Jurasik together in a scene together. It's just going to go off the chart. Awesome. Their acting is just beautiful. LGG says they remind him of Odo and Quark. A little bit different dynamic, but yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah, kind of that antagonistic friendship. Although I don't think I could really call them as having a friendship right now.
No, they hate their guts, each other's guts.
So yeah, thoughts, Professor?
Well, I already said this is a fabulous episode. Great acting between those two actors. Um, just I think they could read the phone book together, and it would just be interesting. I really do. They're just great together, and they made this episode. They made the A plot almost a subplot of their plot, I think, because of their acting. It was supposed to be the other way around,
Mm-hmm.
and it just shows, h- how good they are, those two actors.
Ooh, excuse me. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, I'm putting you to sleep. Sorry, Matthew.
No, it's
Um,
definitely not you. I've stayed up a little bit too late the past couple nights, trying to get some stuff done.
we have the new group that came in, Brother Theo, and I wonder if they're going to do anything interesting after this episode. They
That was
kind
a
of set it
question I
up that
had.
way.
If they were going to be
Um,
recurring characters.
well, time will tell. Um,
I'm
what did
so
you think
sorry.
of the what did you think of the scene where Londo jumps into the elevator? The effects with that particular scene, the fireball coming down the hallway.
Oh, I thought it was quite functional. It's a classic fire doesn't move that slowly trope, uh, but I thought the fireball itself looked realistic enough.
Well, a lot of people think it was bad CGI, even for the time.
Hmm.
Do you agree?
Uh, not on the not on the small little area I have up on my screen to watch it on. Maybe if it was on a bigger TV, but just from what I saw, I mean, it looked like any standard explosion to me. Like honestly, I from from what I remember seeing it, I would have assumed it was a practical effect overlaid like with a like just a green screen, so they had a practical effect and kind of slowed down the explosion.
You nailed it. You got it
Yes.
exactly right. Most people think that was CGI and they thought it was terrible. It was actually a miniature hallway that they built. They painted it so it looked like exactly like the regular B5 hallways, and you really couldn't tell the difference. Then they mounted it vertically alongside the outside of the main building and set the camera at the top pointing down into the hall, and then they had a firebomb go off, and they slowed down the film initially and then sped it up as it went, and maybe that is why it looks kind of funny to some people because of the different speeds,
Hmm.
but that was a practical effect. It was
Now,
not
to be
CGI,
fair,
which most people, most of the effects rather are CGI in this series. Hey,
hmm
John.
hey, now I was being gracious and assuming that the reason the fireball was initially slow was because uh, we're seeing things from Londo's point of view, where he sees the explosion and then he has that moment where he thinks, what are my options? And so like from his perspective, everything kind of slows down as he's quickly thinking about this, as adrenaline's pumping, and then he makes his choice and things pick back up again, is how I personally interpreted that scene.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I couldn't find any evidence of that on the Usenet's messages, but yeah, I think I agree with you on that.
um,
Um,
didn't get my prediction
I,
right though.
you didn't get your prediction right?
I did not.
Well,
I
it
mean, so
did have to
Londo
do with
was there.
Londo. Londo was there, but it really wasn't about his convictions, where he's standing with the power structure and with his own people and with Rifa.
I mean, not even with what he did to Jakar. Like I kind of wondered if they'd focused more on the elevator scene, if Londo would have had any moments where he like doubled down on what he had done, or he and Jakar had some sparring. But as it was, I mean, Jakar, he has nothing to say to him. He's like, no, I'm not going to waste energy on this conversation. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy getting to see you die.
And he taunted Londo.
Yeah.
Which he did fabulously.
I can hear
like
you.
I said. I think you're in for a treat, John. Sorry you missed the episode.
Wonderful episode.
Yeah. It's the show really is hitting its stride at this point. Other than that, I really don't have much to say about this episode. I think during the episode itself, I pretty much stated what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to watch it again, specifically when the guy is talking about why he's doing it. From what I caught,
his life was falling apart. Basically, he said his wife left him, his apartment was taken away,
which is functional. But I kind of expected that they would have tied it more into maybe Earth First movement, that he specifically came to Babylon 5 because he lost his job to Adrazi. He lost his job to Anarn, something like that. And so he was coming specifically here to find retribution against the mixing of the races, the United Nations of space, or maybe it would have been even more global than that. So it wasn't one specific race, but like he just didn't like the way things were going.
Well, this was the third place that he bombed. There were two prior places that he bombed before coming to Babylon 5.
Oh, okay. I heard them mention the two places, but I thought they were
Centauri and I can't remember the other one.
Okay, I thought they were talking about two places on Babylon 5.
No, these were places before he came there. And that's kind of how they found out who was doing the bombings.
That makes a lot more sense.
Because they were looking for people that came from the last place he came from. They found evidence that the bombs were coming from there. They were similar to bombs set off at that place. I think Proxima was the last one. And I got another train coming in.
Yeah, so I had absolutely misunderstood. Like I heard them talking about the two previous bombings, but coincidentally the show had two previous bombings on Babylon 5. And so I'm like, well, how on earth would that be conclusive? Because it's a small station, like, okay, 5 miles, but relatively small station. So now that you've explained it, I'm like, that's actually much more, makes a lot more sense.
And that's why they had Brother Theo's group going through all the footage, looking for a man that was at all this bombing sites. So they could narrow it down. And Thomas says, keep up, Matthew.
Never.
Well, I have to admit, you have a tough job, Matthew. I mean, you have to describe the scenes and keep up with the chat, and you have to keep up with dialogue with me. And so I'm with you on this. This is a first viewing for you. I've seen this show several times already, so
I definitely look forward to watching it again. I definitely agree that the highlight of this episode was Londo in his two interactions. First, his compassion for Lanier.
Yeah. And then was it Aaron of Mercy season 1? That they had that episode together where Londo was taking him through, the casino, and they got into the fight, and Lanier, he held up the honor of Londo
Mm-hmm.
at the end of this of the episode. So they already had a relationship going.
Yeah. And so just you get to see him being compassionate there, and then to turn around and have him immediately run into Jakar, the person who he has been the least compassionate to. And not just uncompassionate, he's been down and out betraying him. I felt was an amazing juxtaposition.
Quality and mercy. Thank you, Gamer Grad.
Which I really, really hope we get to see Londo redeemed throughout this series at some point. Redemption's a hard thing. Redemption doesn't come to everyone. It's entirely possible that Londo's fate is exactly what he has foreseen, and exactly what Jakar hopes for. That he'll die to Jakar with Jakar's hands around Londo's throat. But I definitely hope that as time progresses, Londo is forced to see what he has done. And maybe that starts off at a selfish level, where it was last week where he saw a picture of the ships and he said, yes, I saw that in my visions. And
his dreams.
So maybe it'll start off with him realizing that what he has done has impacted Centauri negatively, and he'll be able to grow outward from that to see that it's not just my own people that have been suffering. Now I can see it's the entire universe, and not just the entire universe, but the Narn, the people I care the least about, have oppressed for just generations upon generations. So I do hope we get that for Londo, because I do so enjoy his character. The actor who plays Londo does such a good job of getting us to care for someone who is so deplorable at this point in the series.
Yeah, Peter Jurassic. He is a great actor. And he and Andreas Katsoulis, they really make this series. As good as the other characters and actors are, those two, if you don't have those two, I don't think this show works.
And to be fair, you can only work with what you're given. And so hats off to JMS for writing the characters so well that I care about someone who's so deplorable. Like the writing and the actors acting out the writing, top notch all around.
Yes. Hats off to all.
It definitely makes it hard to be doing this at once a week.
Well, you're kind of seeing it the way it was originally broadcast, so.
It's true, and I'm actually getting to go a little bit faster because I didn't have to take a summer break.
That's true. Yeah. So we are going a bit faster. We did 2 seasons in a year, basically.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it comes close to evening out with my flakiness at times, but
no, I think we're still going about twice as fast. Not almost twice as fast. So we don't want to keep our audience waiting forever.
Exactly.
So do you want to make a prediction about does Londo get redemption, redeem himself? Or do you want to wait on that?
I'm going to make a prediction for now. So I reserve the right to change it as we learn more about him. Because we're not quite halfway through the series yet. We'll get there a couple months.
Not too far from now.
But I'm going to make a prediction, and my prediction is going to match my hopes. And that is that, yes, we will get a redemption moment for Lando.
Okay.
And honestly, that's my hope, because I like him, but also I do think it makes thematic sense for Lando to get his redemption moment. That everyone aboard the station, to kind of our main cast of characters, for the good people, if they're going to die, they die honorably. Even Kiefer. For the bad people, I mean, Jakar, he started off season 1 as being the heel. He was the bad guy. He was the one that you love to hate. And it's fascinating that in the course of a single episode, which Sinclair talked about it being a crossroads, that we exist at a crossroads, a moment to choose peace or to follow after destruction. And in that episode, Jakar chose peace and Lando chose war. And that's when the two characters flipped on us. So I think it makes sense at some point for Lando to hit rock bottom, and he's not there yet. I think when he hits that rock bottom point, we'll get the moment where it clicks for him, and he begins his redemption journey.
Okay. I agree. It does make sense, but will it happen? That's the question.
And yeah, Josh, if I take off more than a week, this will turn into the Voyager series, which is never coming at this rate. But next week is A Day in the Strife, which is absolutely a play on, I think there's an old TV show called A Day in the Life. And, you'd have the pretentious British guy, and he'd take you through, and now we have the richest man in the world. This is Bill Gates, and we are going to go a day through the life of Mr. Gates. And so I believe that A Day in the Strife, so many ways that could go. This could finally be my Jakar episode I keep predicting. Seeing the strife that he is going through. Or this could throw a bit of a curveball for me, where we could have an entirely new guest character or group of people who are suffering come aboard the station, and I could see Londo having to kind of go alongside them and see what it's like to be them. The only problem with that is that we just had a solid Londo episode. And one thing JMS is really good about is cycling through the characters.
That is true.
I admit I'm having a little difficulty with my predictions right now as we get season 3 started, because there's so much that he's going over at the beginning of the season, and until he starts hitting that season stride of, okay, I've established where we are and where we're going, I tend to not be able to guess. But let's see. We went over basically what everyone was doing in matters of honor. Conviction was very much a Londo-centric episode. Lanier's going to be out, I think, for a little bit as he heals. Maybe we get to see him kind of limping around for some time. So we've gone over... Well, Kosh won't be around, really. We've gone over Sheridan. Gone a little bit over Dolores. I think we're going to see... I think we're going to focus in on Jakar. He seems to be our next kind of main character that needs some screen time here. And we've already seen how he's been struggling, especially in this episode, running around and yelling and not really being listened to. So I could see us focusing on the strife he is going through right now. I think that'll be our main plot. Ooh. Sorry, the next episode is called Passing Through Gethsemane, which is a reference to the garden where Jesus prayed the night before his crucifixion. That's going to be... I mean, that is so clearly some references going on. So tune in next week for that one. Whew. Not to watch that one for whatever prediction I can think of for that one.
I can't wait for that prediction.
Yeah,
that should be a good one from you.
So Day in the Strife.
I'll be right.
Yeah, Day in the Strife. Looking at G'Kar and what he has to do just on a day-to-day basis now that he has gone from being an ambassador to being a refugee. That's it. Final thoughts, Jeff?
Outstanding episode. Andreas Kasoulas, Peter Jurasik, just terrific together. They're just stars.
Oh yeah, like you said, the bombing plot seemed almost like the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it literally did nothing for the episode at this point. He didn't have, from what we know, he didn't have some big deep motivation. He's just a crazy guy who hit rock bottom and let it take him to a bad place. I mean, maybe they'll retcon that, but just from where it is, it's like that has no relevance on anything. It wasn't that he's some psyop guy. He didn't have it out for the other races. He was just a random human who hit the ground.
It almost feels like a bottle show.
Yeah. Except they did all the work for the special effects.
Yeah, they did. And they did a good job. I thought it looked good.
All right. Well, hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I look forward to seeing you next week as we watch the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.